Let's move to the
Awesome.
NBA, Rob. And last season, actually last year too, you and I both picked the Clippers to win it all. A lot of NBA folks picked the Clippers. Of course, they fell short, didn't even get to the conference finals. I think, though, one good thing to come out of that, I'm not saying it's the only reason, but I do think it's a factor, is that I think load management to the obscene degree that Kawhi Leonard was practicing it is over. At least if and I'm not saying he was 100% healthy last year and could have played every game. But I think he could have played some of those back-to-backs. I think he could have played more than he did. He only played 57 games. I know they didn't play 82, but he only played 57. But he was the poster boy for load management the last few years. And now, last night, Rob, listen to this. If you haven't heard this already, it's going to stun you. For the first time since 2017, April of 2017. So first time in more than 3 years last night, Kawhi played the second half of a back-to-back. He completed a full back-to-back. And he played well. And here's why I say, Rob, that I think this is a good sign for the Clippers. I think it's emblematic of an attitude adjustment on Kawhi's part. And I'm not saying he had a bad attitude, but I do think he was like, look, I'd been hurt in San Antonio. Obviously, they did some load management, not to the degree that he did, but they did do load management. He did it in Toronto, won a championship. Why mess with what worked, right? And so last year he was going to do it. He did it, and it didn't work. So I think he's adjusted his attitude, and now he's coming out. He said after the game he's looking to play back-to-back. So this isn't just a one-off. He feels good. Rob, he's playing the most minutes of his career. Believe it or not, he's only averaged 34 or more minutes twice in his career, and that's including this year. So he's playing a career high in minutes, a little over 34 a game, and he's playing every night, at least thus far, or, when he can. So I think that's good, and I think it's good for the NBA because I do think that this could spell doom for, I'm going to put it this way, obscene load management. Now, guys will still take a day off here or there, but not to the point where it was just you didn't even know who was playing one night or the other. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think too many people are too hard on Kawhi Leonard. I'm not, I've never been for the load management because I think it's disrespectful to the fans who buy tickets. I just do not believe in that. Okay, so I'm on the. You can even
argue to I'm the on TV
right
stations,
TV right to the networks, Chris. Yep. And I've always been consistent on that. Right, I've never been with that. I just don't think it's right. But I don't believe that he wasn't playing back-to-backs because he doesn't want to play or because he was just trying to, sneak out of some games or whatever, or he didn't care. I really believe that what happened to him in San Antonio traumatized him. Like, he didn't believe in the medical staff. He got into it with Pop. Pop even had a couple of guys, Ginobili and Tony Parker, attack him. Right? Like he had
Kawhi, yes.
Kawhi. I mean, you never saw that, Chris. Am I right?
Verbally, yes. Verbally.
Yeah, that was like
questioned his toughness.
Yes, and all that.
Is he really hurt? All that, yeah.
And that's something serious when Chris, we talk about it all the time. Your threshold for pain is not my threshold for pain. You cannot. Do you remember who was the Bears quarterback who got hurt? Jay Cutler. In the playoff game, Chris, you remember?
And everybody was injury.
Everybody was ripping him. Do you remember that? And then he had to have surgery.
Through it, but he played.
No. The one where he came out of the game. He came out of the playoff game.
I know LaDainian Tomlinson got ripped. Remember, because he sat out with a knee injury. And Cutler, I thought, or no, Phillip Rivers played through one. You're right. So Cutler.
But Cutler was the one, and Chris, he wound up having surgery, right? Like he was injured.
Yeah.
And people were ripping him from their couches like other players. And I'm like, dude, you can't do that. I believe Kawhi is finally healthy after all this time where he feels comfortable. Now, Chris, maybe if he might have taken his sweet time to get all the way there, like saying, I want to make sure I'm really all the way back to where I want to be before I start doing this. And I do believe that was his motivation, that it was a concern of his health. It was that he felt like people were trying to force him out there too early when he wasn't ready or his body wasn't ready. And I don't care. A doctor doesn't know. Nobody knows. Your teammates don't know. Nobody knows what you're going through internally. And I'm not making excuses.
There was no
for him.
injury.
But he didn't feel right. And Chris,
look, I'm paying you. Look, I'm with you to a degree, Rob. I am with you to a degree because I do think. Look, in Toronto, and we saw it. Remember in the playoffs, his knee was bothering him. At times he played.
That's all I'm saying. It's not like it's
times,
a fake injury, right?
I think that year it was legit. He needed, his personal doctor. He needed to sit out those games, and you saw even with sitting out those games in the playoffs. It playing consistently, in many cases every other night, it did bother him. And so I'll give you that, the Toronto year. And Rob, I think what happened, and this can happen with people, it was great, right? You played through the playoffs, you won the championship. So you're thinking, why mess? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? And the Clippers agreed to all of that going into last season. And so I think that was the plan. But I do think, I'm not saying he could have played every back-to-back. But I do think he could have played some back-to-backs last year. I think it was mental. To your point, it was, like I said, it worked the year before. Am I really fully back? I don't want to risk, not being ready for the playoffs. And then you saw the playoffs playing every other day a lot of times. He was fine. Their problems had nothing to do with his lack of health. And so I'm going to give you, I think some of it was physical, some of it. I think he could have played more than he did, but I'll give some of it. But I like, though, that this year he's taking the bull by the horns and saying, and I credit Ty Lue with some of this, right? They've had a lot of changes there. I mean, their offense is different. The ball is moving a lot more.
Their offense is big time different.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
It's in Paul George's hands a lot, and he's playing great. So, and then you got Kawhi playing on back-to-backs. It's going to be big for their chemistry. And even if it's Kawhi seeing how the Lakers, Anthony Davis, LeBron, they played pretty much every game. They played through some bumps and bruises, specifically AD, and it helped their chemistry. And it paid off in the end. Maybe if it's even that is a factor. But whatever it is, I like it, Rob, because I think it's good for the Clippers. It's good for the league. And also, I think it could hopefully spell the end of just, unnecessary load management. I don't mind guys taking off here or there, but unnecessary load management.
Yeah, I'm against it. I'm really, if you're not hurt, you should play. Chris, you know what you're called? You're a player.
A player, right.
That's what you do. You're a player. You play. Chris, if you're hurt, you can't play. When I heard last week, Kyrie and KD out for rest, game 4 of the season. Really? I mean, like, seriously, people work 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year, and really work, Chris.
Right.
And you're telling me you
work.
can't play 82 basketball games in a 365-day year. Come on, man.
Well, you know what I've always said, and the doctors, the science, all that now that these teams have, they'll tell you, 82 is too much, especially in this short.
It's ridiculous.
I'm like, look, maybe. First of all, here's the thing, Rob. The science, I'm sure, would tell you that most people with high performance jobs, right, where it's a lot of stress, it's a lot of hours, because you know this, Rob, the average, like, really high big-time jobs, they're not working 40 hours a week. They're working 60, 70. Wall Street,
right.
When you start, you're working 90-hour weeks sometimes.
Chris,
Chris,
you have friends.
The doctor.
I was going to say.
She would be on call sometimes up close to 48 hours straight, if not 48 hours.
And I was going to say, I have friends who are lawyers, and they used to say to me all the time, if you took our pay and did it hourly, you know what I mean, for all the hours they have to put in.
Yes.
They just say it's unbelievable how many hours they work.
You don't leave. A typical career type big time job is not 9 to 5. You're working at home.
You're not walking out at 5 o'clock for cocktails
and forgetting about your job. Totally right. No, so that I think the science would tell many people that they're overworked. So that's number one. I don't want to hear about that. But if we must go by that, okay, we're gonna go by the science, and the body can't handle 82 NBA games a year, okay, play 60. But guess what? Take 60 games worth of pay. That's the problem. A lot of these guys, and not just the players, but the league, they want to play 65 to 70 games, but get 82 games worth of pay.
Right.
If you want to cut the season, I'd actually be all for about a 65-game season.
The only reason they won't do it, though, Chris, we know it, is money. The TV money they don't want to give up. Otherwise, I'm with you. All the leagues could easily cut it back, or you know what I mean, and make it all fit nice.
Baseball and basketball could make it shorter, fewer games. They don't need that many games. But like you said, it's the money. So if you're going to, stick to 82 games, then, again, sit out a few here and there. That's fine. But I am glad to see Kawhi playing both games, going back-to-backs. And, Rob, you picked the Clippers this year. I got the Lakers. I think this helps the Clippers, though. Chemistry's going to be better. Attitude's going to be better. Morale's going to be better. So I think it's good all the way around for basketball. Were you glad to see Kawhi Leonard out there last night for his first back-to-back in more than 3 years? And does it mean the end of the dreaded load management? Let's hear from you.
All right, let's talk to Tony in Oakland. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Tony?
Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm a long time listener, first time caller.
What's up?
Thank you, man.
Yeah. I just started listening to you guys live. I've been about like eight to 10 months. I've been listening to the podcast kind of religiously.
Right. Okay.
But I think personally, he's starting to stop the load management because of his legacy. I believe people around the league and just fans in general believe him to be somewhat of a soft player because he won't, kind of fight through injuries, kind of battle through adversity. He kind of likes to take the easy route. To me personally, like for instance, in 2019 when we were in the finals, if Clay goes up for a layup instead of a dunk and doesn't tear his ACL, I believe that we end up taking that championship. And me personally, I think KD comes back and we come for try to become the first.
Come on,
NBA
Tony.
history.
Tony, you got Tony. You got.
I agree with you.
Tony, you're writing a fairy tale. You sound like those injured Warrior fans who are living in the past. We should have won another championship.
No, but it's true,
That's not true.
Robert, be nice, Robert, because you know it. If we win it, we go 3-peat. KD has no other choice but to come back, and we could become the first team in NBA history to win 4 straight.
KD still might have left.
What team next year was going to stop us? There was no other team that would have stopped us.
But woulda, coulda, shoulda. I get it. The bottom line is it didn't happen. Thank you, Tony. I'm not trying to scare you away. We're glad that you called in. All right, appreciate it. How about George in New York? You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio.
You are rude.
What's up, George? What?
My God.
What was Tony at the Capitol last night?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, whack job.
George, where are you?
You know what?
George, you're in New York City. What's up? Where are you at in the city?
It's all good, baby. It's all good. In Brooklyn.
All right.
It's all good.
Okay, I was about to say,
I like you guys.
excited
You guys
about
are
your
honest.
Knicks.
I like you guys. You guys are honest. You have a lot of integrity, even though Rob wears his Jordans that are made in China and sweatshops and all that. But anyway,
hey, you know what? Wait a minute, George. If we were going to do that, we wouldn't have anything on, okay?
Everybody,
So
exactly.
What
Okay.
So we can't get on LeBron. We can't get on LeBron. But the point is, like I said, I like you guys, but you're kind of ignorantly spewing about Kawhi. You have no idea about his injury, whether people can be injured, whether they report it or not. And, and also with regards to Kyrie, that's a $36 million annual investment. For the Knicks, for the Nets, it's championship or bust. So They've got to sit him. His style is herky jerky.
So
He's
what about
prone.
you brought up Kawhi though? What do you
Kawhi,
you
like
he played. He was fine last year. Playing every other day in the playoffs, he was fine.
But I'm saying though, that may be his limit. Like we don't know. We don't know his body. Like he's a trooper. You know.
That's why you got doctors.
But that's what George. That's what I said.
Chris, you played sports. A doctor doesn't know your body better than you do.
A doctor can know if you hurt and you can play through some pain.
No, but
it's some pain you can't play.
That's not always the case.
Hold on. Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis. Mm-hmm. When have they played their most games? When they played with LeBron James. Because LeBron James set an example and a climate where
I don't know if
we play through the little Knicks and Knox. And they did it.
In all fairness,
when they're not with him, they don't do it.
But in all fairness, we're speculating from a basis of ignorance. We have no idea about Kyrie's body.
I said that.
But George,
we say that for everything, George. Come on.
I said
we can say that for everything. We don't know.
I mean, I know it's your hustle.
That's
I know you guys are doing a great job.
Way out.
It's not an easy way out. We're passing judgment.
If you're hurt, give me a reason, and we'll leave it alone.
No, but I disagree with Chris from this standpoint that doctors misdiagnose things, Chris.
On this program.
You know, they're bad doctors who miss stuff, Chris, all the time. They don't always know. It's not perfect. That's all I'm saying. They don't know everything. A doctor can look at something and say, he's good to go.
Kawhi sat out last year a lot of times.
No, I'm just talking about in general. A doctor's not the
they're not perfect,
be all end all. They're not perfect. That's all I'm saying. But that's all. I'm not saying that in that situation. All right, let's squeeze in another one. Let's go to Joel in Sacramento. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Joel?
What's up with y'all, man?
How you?
Pretty good. How y'all doing?
Good, bro.
Rob, let me get these Jordan Speedos off of GetRob.com for $20.
Yeah, right. No way, no how.
Hurry up. We got to go to break. What you got?
Oh, real quick. I think Kawhi Leonard is soft as cotton mentally, and these players are overpaid today. So now they get to just sit down and, I don't want to play today. I got $100 million in my account. I don't need to play.
Well,
there might be some truth to that.
Yeah. I mean, it gives them a lot more leverage. There's no doubt about it.
Because, Chris, even you used to have to play for your contract. You know, like you'd have to play and put up numbers, and there weren't 8-year contracts. And, you know, the probably the most famous one, and I'm talking about the 50s, but Mickey Mantle won the Triple Crown one year, Chris, and the next year, of course, he didn't win the Triple Crown. You know how hard it is to win the Triple Crown, right? So the next year, what the Yankees wanted, give him a pay cut. They said you were a Triple Crown last year.
Yeah, that's why I think it's more fair now. They're getting about 50% of the money. And you can argue over whether that's enough, but, you know, they're getting their fair share. The leagues generate so much more money.
They're not giving them that money because they don't have it.
Right.
I'm not mad.
Exactly. So I ain't mad at them on that either.